let's just get that out of the way right now, and let's kind of get started. So what kind of give me the top takeaways from last week's call, if you guys don't mind.
My top takeaway is more just really focus on what our main job is: consult, negotiate, and manage fears and expectations. And then also just that list you sent. I know I haven't implemented it yet as far as, into our sales process, but I don't know, man. For me, I feel more confident as far as not having to go in setting these crazy, incredible expectations.
Right. What about anybody else? Was that Chris?
That was Dan.
Oh, that was Dan. Okay. What about anybody else?
I mean, some of the same. I guess it's my memory. I can't retain a whole lot of things from last week. Glad we're going over it again.
Right.
No, but yeah, the ownership piece and the lowered expectations. I've kind of got a handle on that. Where
right.
Just kind of get the bar low and then impress after that piece.
Right.
I think one of the things we talked about last week.
Yep.
Right.
And then going back to prior weeks, I had a situation with one of my, best accounts, and I was able to use, I guess from the prior weeks, just go ahead and address what you already know that they're thinking.
Right.
And it was actually able to help me navigate a situation, and because I had a couple fires with that office, and Jason's told you our roles are not to be in the guts of a file,
Right.
and
right.
I was able to use, from the prior call to say, hey, I know what you guys are probably thinking. The answer to X to this situation is for me to get involved in the guts of your file like I used to be, and I just want to let you know that's not an option. Here's how we can solve it, but it just kind of seemed to calm them down to just address
right.
the elephant in the room and what I thought their solution in their heads was to the problem. So
right.
that was good.
Right. We talked a little bit last week that one of the greatest complaints that realtors have about the industry, because a lot of it has to do with them and a lot of it has to do with their clients, and then a lot of it has to do with our clients and us as well, is communication. Right? I mean, the whole reason that a lot of relationships and a lot of business dies on the vine is because you have essentially a pilot who, once the plane takes off, jumps out of the plane as soon as it hits a little bit of turbulence. The truth is that the more that you can address that in the beginning, the more professional and the more on top of it you come across. Which are you guys in front of the computer?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to turn something on. Has anybody seen me or heard me talk about this yet? What's on the computer screen now?
Hang on, I'm just clicking on the link right now, Doug.
Okay, buddy.
Well, he's having breakfast in front of us.
Yeah.
You better brought enough to share.
Yeah, well, he failed that class.
Yeah. No, we have not seen this, Doug.
Okay, so here's what I want you guys from a mindset to understand. Most of the realtors that you guys associate with, and I'm not saying the brand, not like the broker or the team leaders. I'm talking about the agents themselves, the ones that are actually pounding the pavement every day. Most of them fall into the first step, which is they have a job. And you'll see a lot of this on my Facebook post that I put out today, but a job for most people is a survival piece. They really haven't decided if they're committed. Their mindset isn't around being of value. They're really just there to do what? Right? Just pick up a paycheck. Right? That's what a job is. Kids have jobs. People who don't have a direction in life have a job. Are we all clear on that?
Yep.
Yeah. When you're in a mode of survival, what are you thinking about every single day?
Surviving.
Paycheck.
Surviving. Paycheck. You're in a need-based mindset, correct? It's a need. You come across as very aggressive, you come across as very salesy, and you come across as very needy. Are we agreeing on that?
Agreed.
Okay. We all know people, either in our life or in transactions that we've dealt with, that are in this position, don't we?
Yep.
Yahoo.
Right?
Yes. Yahoo.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Awesome. So ask yourself this question. When you go from having a job to owning a business or running a business, what do you think the number one differentiation is between the two?
I think, and I'm not talking practically, just like you have like an ownership of your role.
Okay. Okay.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, the question is, what do you think the number one difference between being in a job and being in a business is? Like, what do you think the mindset of a person who goes to a job versus a mindset of a person who goes into a business? What do you think they think?
Ownership.
Okay. Ownership? Okay.
Yeah, taking ownership of what goes on and, not needing as much guidance, cutting your own path.
Okay. Okay. I've always looked at it and said, when you go from having a job to a business, you've made a commitment in your mind that you're going to do this for a while. Like, you've made a personal commitment that you have some value to give. Your value of yourself is increased, and the way that people see you is different because they see you as caring. They see you being a little bit more of service to them. They see you as being more of a quote-unquote professional, right? I mean, that might be the number one differentiation. The person that has a job versus the person that that goes to a business is their level of professionalism.
Yeah, you
feel more confident.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Sometimes maybe it's the college education. Maybe there's a document that allows you to take that step up. The reality is going from job to a business is a big jump for people because you have given yourself a level of commitment that this is the path that you're going to explore. Now, for example, I never, growing up to high school and going to college, I worked in restaurants. So I worked all the way from being a dishwasher to a food prep to a line cook to a bartender to a cook, and pretty soon, eventually, I was running a restaurant. I never looked at it as being a career path. Like, I never looked at it as me wanting to own a restaurant. It was just always a job to me. But I always cared about the job because I cared about I cared about what people thought of me. Well, when you look at your business today, ask yourself, when you wake up every day, do you consider what you do as a job or do you consider what you do as a business? I mean, you see yourselves in a long-term role here. And the reason that this is so important is why the last call was so fundamental, is because when you believe that your value is more than just being a commodity, you elevate yourself from having a job to really running a business. And that's really what you guys are doing. The truth is that most of the realtors in our industry, probably never get off the first step. They just don't. Not because they don't want to, but because nobody's ever sat down with them and gave them ideas and education on how to do it. The problem is for you guys is that when you go out and meet all these realtors and these referral partners, most of them will never, ever, ever get to the place where they're at a business level or ever at a career level. The reason why communication is so powerful, the reason why communication is so impactful when you dialogue with your referral partners about it, is because where do you think they see you at? Do you think they see you in the job level? Do you think they see you in a business level or even on the next level, which is a career? I mean, what do you think the optics are from the point of view of the people you're talking to when you talk about things that are significant to them, like communication, i.e. the negotiation, consultation, and managing fears and expectations? Where does that conversation elevate?
So, I mean, if you're setting yourself up with the correct language, then they should be seeing you at least business, but the hope is career.
Right. So let me ask you this. So every time you don't have a dialogue about the things that their pain are, every time you don't dialogue about setting proper expectations, every time you don't dialogue about what your value is, and every time you don't dialogue about the things that are significant in this process to them, it keeps you at the level of having a job, guys. And if you really want your referral partners to look at you and see you differently and aim to be more like you, which is what I know Pete and Jason are after, you have to start believing that your business or your career is where you see yourselves at. And that means that when you speak, you have to speak with value, and you have to speak with higher conversations in mind. Your realtors aren't going to get this, but one of the greatest strategies that I loved using is I loved bringing this little diagram or drawing it out on a piece of paper for the referral partners that I met. And I said, where do you think you fit? And I didn't put the survival, stability, success, and significance on that list. I saved that till later. I asked them, where did they see themselves? And I said, a lot of them would put business and career. And I said, that's fantastic. And then I filled out the bottom numbers. And I said, how much of you guys really are in a stable economic reality? And you know what? Most of them ended up falling back down to job and business. The reason that this diagram to me is so important is because it helps identify, not only your belief system on where you want to go, but where you're at, but it also is a great tool to into dialoguing with your agents about higher level conversations about why your branch, why your team is so much more powerful and so much more different, because this is the way that you guys think. And when a realtor considers who they want to work with, if you have the conversation like we talked about last week and you have a conversation like we had right now today, what do you think the realtors and teams you're meeting with, what do you think they're going to think about you guys? Do you think they're going to see you as being the same as every other loan officer that's ever knocked on their door?
No, probably not.
No.
Do you see why this diagram might actually have a significant impact in the way that they look at you?
Yes, sir.
It goes back to the one pain that every realtor has. It's communication, and then when you identify that it's communication, what comes out of your mouth has to be significant. It has to carry value. And if you've noticed over the last couple weeks, what we've talked about has not been about mortgages. As a general rule, it's been about setting proper expectations. It's about identifying what the layers of the team look like, and it's about setting, it's about setting yourself up in front of them to be somebody different, reframing yourself in front of them. Everything that I'm giving you guys is giving them a chance to see you the way that you value yourself as, but they don't. They still see you guys as being in this job of survival mode. Every realtor probably looks at an LO and thinks that we have just a job, that we're nothing but phone jockeys, cubicle junkies, and there's nothing else about us. But everything we're talking about here is just additional dialogues that help you develop a better and deeper and more significant relationship with these people. And when you start communicating like this and you start bringing diagrams and value like we've talked about, you can't help but not attract the ones that believe that they're in a career. Wouldn't we all want to attract the realtors and referral partners that have great success, that have a career, that have made this their lifeblood? Because the difference between going from business to career is that you wake up every day and you implement systems and strategies and business development ideas. You become really, at the career, you become an entrepreneur. From the business standpoint, you've seen the value of what you do. You know it's got traction. And you start working really, really hard to build up momentum, and you start building up great sales, and you start building up great volume. But you're still working in the business. When you get to the place where you have a career, you spend time working on your business. You start developing better relationships. You wake up and think, how can I be of service to people? How can I bring value to your world? And let's be honest, guys, the value that you bring isn't about mortgages. That's how they thank you for the value you bring, but the true value is what you have to find out when you have your relationships. Why do these agents prefer you? Yes, you guys do a great job, but that's a result. It's more about how they view you and how they are attracted to what you offer beyond just closing loans. At least that's my belief.
Yeah, well, they have to, because everybody closes loans, so we have
everybody
different sales.
Mm-hmm. So if I'm sitting in front of a realtor and I say, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, the thing that I was thinking while you were talking was, to me, this sounds like sort of the Simon Sinek why versus the how and what. So rather than just talking about, sort of the unique proposition of, we can close loans faster and our communication's better, It's more so, let's talk about the why. Like, why are you doing this? Is this a job, or is this a career? Is this a business? And once you uncover that why and you connect your why with their why, then you actually have a stronger foundation to start building on.
Bingo. This little diagram was always fun, like I said, to draw out, but I never put the S's below it. I always just drew it out on a tier basis and said, where do you think you're at in relationship to your real estate career? And a lot of them would say business and career. Most of them didn't know what calling was, and very few people ever get to that place. But the truth is that you're absolutely right. When you're able to answer, why did I get out of bed this morning and why should anybody care? You'll have the answer to what it is your realtors and referral partners are seeking. Because very few people, if anybody, can answer that question with complete clarity, or at least conviction. The truth is that when you sit down and you project professionalism and you believe that you're in a career because you have significant success, that you've reached some success in your business, and you're thinking about things like we do on these calls, you're at a place now where you're not just running a business. You guys can go out and be an RM or do what you're doing. Maybe it's some other shop. But the difference is there's a career path here, whereas in the other places you're either in a job or you're just in a business. You're one cog in a wheel. The conversations that we're having are teaching you some different approaches so that when you communicate, you bring value to them without having to even talk about mortgages. And like Jason just said, when you can talk about the why and you can talk about what their why is compared to your why, like how many of your realtors would love to learn what it takes to go from being in a business to for some stability? How many would love to see some financial success? Like how many of them would love to see money in the bank, retirement account being funded, 401k, or 529 college savings plan for their kids? I mean, ask yourselves, how many realtors actually make a six-figure income? Probably less than 5%. Less than 5. How many of them would love to learn how to make more money? And don't you guys have systems and strategies that would help them?
Absolutely.
Don't you guys have a great layer of communication that provides them the freedom to go out there and originate more leads so that they don't have to stress out about the deals that they have in process?
Working on it.
Well, I mean, there's the secret sauce. There's the Frank's Red Hot right there. I put this shit on everything. I talk about this to every realtor because every realtor has never been given a chance to learn how or to understand why. And the questions that we have are just ongoing. They are relationship ongoing conversations that you can have with them for weeks and weeks and weeks and months on end. And the good ones will stay. And some don't even care, and that's fine. And if they're sending you business, so be it. But the real, reliable, referable, what I call centers of influence, the people that bring 25% of your business to the table every year, those are the ones that you want to stick with. Those are the ones you build relationships with. Those are the ones that you invest in. Those are the ones you align your whys with each other, and you make it a significant relationship.
Hey, did you hear that interference, Doug?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that the is that Matthew knocking on your door?
It might be.
Are you guys going to get any of that? Are you guys going to get any of that?
What we hear, yeah, we're going to get a good dose of it.
Yeah, good dose
Wow.
of it starting tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, guys, be careful, man.
60-mile-an-hour winds at least, so we'll see.
Oh my God, I guess it's like one of the worst hurricanes that you guys have had in a decade. So God, be safe, every one of you guys. Safe travels. Just keep your head about you. So yeah, does anybody have any questions about today?
Yeah, I've got a question. How, in your experience, as you master this, and I just kind of caught something that you said, that this is a conversation over weeks and weeks. Let me ask you a question, just from a practical standpoint.
Yep.
Let's say a new relationship, someone that agrees to meet with me, and I sit down, do you like set up future meetings to just kind of help them? What does that look like in a perfect world, brother, with an agent you happen to connect with? Because this is definitely a hell of a lot different than, you know, calling them up and, do you have a lead for me? You follow me?
Right.
That's framing my question correctly.
Right. You guys know, you guys have heard the phrase, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear?
Yeah.
The reality is that most of what you guys are going to talk about, most of what you guys say, falls on deaf ears, either because they're just unwilling to open their minds up to it, or they're just not interested in working with you. That's why dripping on them for a while, it takes a long time of consistent behavior before they begin to trust you. But the ones that you actually get a chance to meet with, it's not about setting up conversations in the next. I mean, it's like you and I hung out for the very first time. I'm not going to say before we leave, let's schedule a time to talk again. It's going to be, hey, you know what? Let's catch up again soon. And when I put it in my calendar, I'm doing it because I know that they want to talk to me. They want to figure out what I'm about and figure out more about what I have to say. I think it really just is a feeling. I mean, you can go back to the, you know, top of mind. You can go back to the CRM that you guys have. You guys can do whatever you want as far as dripping on them, but I think every time you can talk to them about what their wants and their goals and their needs are, like this little document here, this conversation can go in 100 different directions. I mean, you literally can peel away the layer of an onion in less than 10 minutes when you show them this, because you can hit them right where it hurts. Do you have stability in your life? I'm not saying financial. Do you have balance? Do you have things, are things going the right way? And you'd be amazed when people become engaged with you. Each of you guys have been in a situation where you can see the other person go from hearing you to listening to you. And I think future conversations, it isn't about dumping all of this on them in a 30-minute lunch or a 30-minute coffee. It's about touching on these subjects just briefly, selling the sizzle, not giving them the steak right away, just because it leads them into, I want to talk to you more. And it becomes more of a relationship conversation that after the first day, I always left it with, you guys know that we're both in a business that's commission driven. I've spent a lot of time. I get coached weekly. I get coached daily. I work on my business a lot because I'm striving for greater success. And right now I have the ability to give some of it back. What I've learned, I would love to share with the right agents that are interested in learning. But we're both in a commission-driven industry, and so my job is to help you with your business, to help you generate more leads. But my number one request is that if we agree to do this, that you're going to be able to send me qualified closable leads that I can work with to help you grow your business. I don't know if that answered your question or not.
That answer, because I also think it's like a feeling. You kind of connected with them, but I needed some clarity. And I liked the very last thing that you said, because you're still, again, going back to your class on how to run that initial appointment, you're still also addressing that this isn't us getting together as buddies and friends. At the end of the day, we're about to grow our businesses.
Right. So, when you approach it with a want versus a need, but you're also very clear on what your want is, you also come from a place of saying, listen, I'm not sure we're going to work well together or not. I would just love a chance to see if we do. You know, everything we've talked about positions you from a place of listening, getting them to listen to you, not just hear you, but listen to you. And you're always, the underlying theme of this all is, I have more to give you than you can even possibly imagine. But I'm also very selective on who I give it to, because I'm looking at building my business through powerful and meaningful and significant relationships. I don't know if you're going to be one of them or not. Chances are you'll probably survive in this business even if we don't work together, and I know I will as well. But if you're interested in working with me and you're interested in learning how to take your job into a place of business, I don't think there's a better lender out there that can help you. And I would love to work with you. But the agreement has to be is that I'm going to provide value to you by helping you grow, and you're going to have to provide value back to me reciprocally by referring me the business that you generate through, through your lead generation system. Is that something that you're willing to work with me on? I mean, I don't find that conversation to be threatening, salesy, off-putting, and most agents, are you shitting me? You're offering them coaching and you're offering them value and you're offering things that nobody else is giving them, and all they got to do is refer you business, and by the way, we close loans pretty well. You guys are the freaking perfect storm.
No pun intended.
Exactly, no pun intended. That's why I said it. I don't know, guys. Is this resonating at all?
No, it's resonating. I'm just going to, be very transparent. I think the fear in any LO, or I'll speak for myself, is this also requires you to grow as a person, because then you're taking the responsibility of helping them grow. And you can't do that by just plain deal.
Nail on the head. Nail on the head. I'm going to say something to you guys that we'll talk about now. For most people, do the people that you work with trust you enough to refer you? Do the people in your life like you enough to put their reputation on the line for you? The reality is that most people ask for the business, but most people are not referable. Everything that we've talked about from the moment we started this class until today is all about teaching you how to become more referable. It's about communicating. It's about being able to know what your audience wants before they speak it. It's about communicating at a higher level. It's about producing a conversation and an impact that leaves them wanting more. It puts you in a position that's higher or elevated than most of the other LOs that have a JOB. The truth is that you're absolutely right. At the end of the day, this forces you to grow as a person. This is not just a script that you can read. This is not just a note card. It can be in the beginning, but I said from the very, very onset of this class, your heart and your head have to be in alignment for this to make any sense and to be of value to people. It has to be conviction. It has to be part of everything you are. And you guys are already this. You have all of these qualities and attributes in you, otherwise you wouldn't be working for the team that you're working with. But at the end of the day, you're absolutely right. You have to be a stronger and more compelling individual. You have to be more interested and less interesting as the relationship develops. Everything that I'm giving you are just little hooks that you can put into them, because then you guys can start a dialogue that goes down a path of just casual conversation. But you're absolutely right. If you're just in the JOB, none of what we're talking about is ever going to be implemented into your business, because you don't see yourself of value. If you truly see yourself in a business, you're starting to gain momentum. When you're at a place where you have career and you have some success, or a steady flow of success, that's when you wake up every day going, man, I know my business. So I'll give you a timeline for me personally, because I've used this since I got into the business. From 1996 to probably about 1999, 2000, I had a job. I was somebody's bitch. I was, for lack of a term, I was handwriting 1003s. I was pulling credit reports. My pager would go off at the wee hours in the morning. My boss was relentless. And then in 1999, 2000, I told my boss that I wanted to start originating my own, because I had taken a lot of the leads that he had given me to handle for him, and I had started creating relationships that produced me referrals. That's when I got to a place of business where I found that I had some value. I had some stability. Well, from 1999, 2000 to probably 2005, I had a business. And when I decided to open up my own shop called Vista Mortgage, from 2005 to 2009, I committed my career. I'm sorry, from 2005 until 2013, I had a career. I ran my own business. I opened it, closed it, hired, fired, realized that I didn't want to own a company anymore, but I just wanted to be an LO, and I wanted to be a high-producing LO, and I had a team of people to support me, and that's really what my passion was. 2013, I was given an opportunity to give my practice to a friend of mine and to my wife, and take this role on as being a just being a coach or a resource to our LOs across the country. And that's really what my passion was. So I feel like today my career was my mortgage business, but my calling is taking everything that I've learned from my job, from my business to my career, and implementing it into tools that give other LOs and other RMs a chance to learn and implement some of the things that I did that brought me success. I can track my business in that way, and I can tell you where the pivotal moments came and why they came. That's why this path for me is so clear. Ask yourself the same thing about yourself, and then ask yourself the same thing about your realtors or your referral partners. But once you're able to identify the why, and you're able to identify why is it important to you, you're going to be able to help these other agents who are lost, help them get on a better path. And that's really where the significance comes. That's really where your success will come, is being able to be more of value. Go to the Facebook post that I posted today about this, and you'll see how the conversation really, how it changes your thinking. At the end of the day, this isn't about writing loans, guys. This is about building meaningful relationships with people who want to help you just like you want to help them. So to your point, yeah, you're always going to make sure that they're clear that you're willing to help them, as long as they're willing to help you in return by sending you business. It's just a different ask with the same result.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Good stuff, man.
Good stuff.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Any other questions?
Anything else, boys?
Good stuff, Dougie.
No. Good stuff? Thank you, brother. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. I'm honored as always. You know what? I was a little bit hesitant to pick up the phone and call because I was afraid nobody's going to be there because I was going to be late. But then the fact that you guys are all there makes me feel good. So that was a huge plus in my book today. Thank you guys for being patient with me.
Awesome. Glad we can make you feel good, Dougie.
Thank you guys. Thank you. You guys are cool. You guys are super cool. I like it. So, all right, gentlemen, make it a great day. I'll send the replay out to Jason here within the hour, and I'll send this little diagram out to you guys as well. If you guys have any questions, give me a holler.
Thanks, bro.
Sweet. Take care.
Stay safe. See you, bud. Bye-bye.
Bye.